I didn't realize I was temporary until she uninvited me from her family's biggest night of the year like it was a seating chart problem. Hey friends, please like this video and leave a comment with your impressions. This will be a great help. Thank you. We never tire of reminding you, it's all thanks to you. I'm 39 and I'm the kind of guy who pays bills early and keeps warranties in a labeled folder. I manage projects for a commercial HVAC company in Raleigh, which means I spend my days making sure 100 moving pieces land exactly where they should. I'm not flashy. I'm reliable. For most of my adult life, that felt like a point of pride. When I met Marissa, she told me she was done with chaos. She laughed when she said it, but her eyes didn't. We were at a friend's backyard cookout, and she was standing near the cooler like she didn't know where to put her hands. She was 33 then, wearing a sundress that didn't match the weather, checking her phone like it might bite her. We started talking about nothing: neighborhoods, dogs, work. She worked in donor relations for a hospital foundation, which sounded polished, but by the end of the night she admitted she was barely holding it together. Her car was in the shop, her credit card was close to maxed, and she just ended a long on-and-off relationship with a guy she described as a storm with great hair. I asked gently why she kept going back. She shrugged and tried to smile, because when it's good, it's fireworks. Fireworks, that was the word that followed her everywhere. Her ex was named Nolan. He was 36, and from what I gathered in the early days, he was the kind of man who could sell a stranger their own wallet and make them thank him for the deal. Promoter, entrepreneur, big ideas, big promises, big apologies. He always had a next thing and a reason why the last thing wasn't his fault. Marissa said she was tired of it. She said she wanted peace. And I believed her, because for the first few months, she leaned into the quiet like it was a warm bath. She'd come to my place after work and fall asleep on the couch before the first episode ended. She'd wake up embarrassed, and I'd just hand her a glass of water and ask if she wanted to stay. She started leaving a toothbrush, then a pair of slippers. Then she started using we when she talked about weekends. She was honest about her mess, too. One night she sat at my kitchen table and dumped a stack of envelopes out of her purse like she couldn't carry them anymore. Late notices, medical bill from an urgent care visit, a credit card statement with an interest rate that made my stomach tighten. I know it's gross, she said, staring at her nails. I'm not asking you to fix it. I don't even know where to start. So I did what I do. I didn't lecture her. I opened my laptop. I made a simple spreadsheet. I called her bank with her sitting beside me on speaker so she could hear everything. We set up a payment plan for one card. We consolidated another. I helped her cancel subscriptions she forgot she had, the kind that quietly steal $14 a month forever. 2 weeks later, she got an email confirmation that her interest rate had been reduced for 12 months. She forwarded it to me with a string of crying emojis, and "You're literally saving my life." I didn't feel like a hero. I felt like a partner. Over time, she moved in, not in one dramatic moment. Just more drawers filled, more mornings where I woke up and she was already in the shower singing softly to herself. She started bringing her lunch to work instead of ordering delivery. She stopped checking her phone every 5 minutes. She told me her mother loved that I was steady. Her father, she said, liked that I made eye contact and shook hands like I meant it. Her sister, Paige, was engaged and had a wedding planned for the following year, and Marissa said things like, "You'll love my family at Christmas, and wait until you see the lake house," like those places were already ours. For almost a year, it felt like we were building something real. Then the tone shifted, slowly enough that I didn't see it at first. It started as teasing, little comments at dinner with her friends. "Oh my God," she'd say, laughing, "Ethan schedules fun." Or, "He's adorable, he's like a dad, but hot." People would laugh and I'd smile because it was harmless, but it became a pattern. Every time I did something responsible, she performed it like a punchline. When I suggested we leave early because we had a long drive back, she'd roll her eyes and say, "Here comes the bedtime police." If I paid for a meal, she'd make a big show of it. "Thank you for providing, sir," like I was a walking retirement plan. I tried to talk to her about it once, quietly, when we were alone. "It's not what you say," I told her. "It's the way you say it, like being stable is embarrassing." She blinked like she didn't understand the language. "I'm kidding." "I know, but it's constant." She kissed my cheek and said, "You're sensitive lately." That sentence is like a fog machine. It fills the room and makes it hard to see what's real. Around that time, Nolan's name started popping up again. not because she talked about him, but because other people did. A mutual friend mentioned he'd moved back to Raleigh. Someone said they saw him at a new lounge downtown. Another person laughed and said, "Classic Nolan, always reappearing like a bad sequel." Marissa would stiffen a little when she heard it, then relax with a practiced smile. "Good for him," she'd say, and change the subject. I wanted to believe she meant it. The big thing on the horizon was the Sterling Hope Gala. That was the Hospital Foundation's annual black tie fundraiser, the one Marissa's family treated like the Met Gala of our city. The kind of night where people bid $10,000 on silent auction golf trips because they want their name in the program. Her family had history with the foundation. Her dad's company sponsored a table. Her mom sat on an auxiliary board. Paige was set to be a young patron host, which was code for pretty people who convince other pretty people to donate. It mattered to them. Image mattered. Marissa told me months in advance, this year is going to be huge for Paige. She's finally stepping into the spotlight. I said, "Cool, tell me what I need to wear." She smiled, "You'll clean up well." A week before the gala, she asked me to take off work early on Friday so we could pick up our outfits. I rented a tux from a place she recommended. She bought a dress that made her look like she belonged on a magazine cover. We practiced a small talk routine in the car like we were prepping for an interview. Names, titles, who's married to who, which donor is sensitive about being called sir because he prefers doctor. It was strange, but I respected it. If this night mattered to her, I wanted to show up well. The day of the gala, I came home with flowers. Nothing dramatic, just a bouquet for her vanity because I knew she'd be nervous. She was in the bedroom doing her makeup when I walked in, and the room smelled like hairspray and perfume. She looked at the flowers and smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You're sweet," she said. "Can we talk for a second?" I sat on the edge of the bed and waited. She stayed standing. She didn't sit. That should have told me everything. "Okay," she began, and then paused like she was looking for a softer version of what she was about to say. "Tonight is complicated." I kept my voice calm. "Complicated how?" She exhaled sharply. "My parents are being weird." "What kind of weirds?" She turned away and started adjusting an earring she didn't need to adjust. "They've been asking a lot of questions. About you, about how you fit." My stomach dropped a little. "Fit where?" She finally looked at me, and her face had that tight, polished expression she used around donors. "They think you're a downgrade from my ex," she said, like she was reading it off a card, "and I don't want to make them uncomfortable." I stared at her because even when you hear words clearly, your brain sometimes refuses to file them under real. She rushed on, "It's not what I think, it's just this crowd is brutal. They notice everything, and Paige is hosting. This can't be a thing." I felt the room get quiet, like the air itself was waiting. "So," I said slowly, "you don't want me there." Her mouth tightened. "I'm saying maybe it's better if you sit this one out." I nodded once. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. My heart was pounding, but my face stayed still. She kept going like she needed to justify it until it sounded reasonable. "It's one night. We'll go to dinner tomorrow, just us. I'll make it up to you." I looked at the tux hanging in the closet, still in plastic. I looked at the rental receipt on the dresser. I looked at the bouquet I'd brought. Then I looked back at her and said the only thing that felt honest. "I see." Her eyes flickered. "Ethan." I held up a hand, not aggressive, just final. "No, I hear you." She watched me like she expected a fight, like she expected fireworks. Instead, I said, "Then don't keep my name on your life." It was short, controlled, not a threat, just a boundary. She blinked. "What does that mean?" "It means you made a choice," I said. "So did I." She opened her mouth, then closed it. She looked at the time, then at her phone, like the gala was a train she couldn't miss. "I have to go," she said, voice thin. "We'll talk after." And just like that, she walked out of our bedroom in a dress I helped pay for, leaving me in the quiet. I didn't chase her. I didn't text paragraphs. I didn't call her names. I walked into the kitchen, poured a glass of water, and stood there for a full minute staring at the sink. Then I started moving. Not fast, not frantic, like I was doing a checklist. First, I went to the office drawer where I kept important documents: passport, birth certificate, social security card, the file folder with the lease copy and the utility account numbers, my work laptop, my external hard drive. Then I opened the closet and took out what was mine: shoes, clothes, the watch my father gave me, the small toolbox I kept for weekend repairs, the framed photo of my late grandmother that Marissa once said made the apartment feel homey. I didn't touch anything that was clearly hers. We were renting a 2-bedroom apartment, and the lease was in both our names, but the utilities were mostly in mine because I'd moved in first: electric, internet, streaming services, the gym membership. I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop and did the boring, powerful things. I logged into the electric company account and initiated a transfer to her email for the next billing cycle with a note that said, "Tenant remaining in unit." The confirmation page popped up with a reference number. I screenshot it and emailed it to myself. I opened the internet provider portal and scheduled a service change date for the following Monday, putting it in her name if she wanted to keep it, or it would cancel. Another confirmation email landed in my inbox within minutes. "Your request has been received." I canceled the streaming bundle that she mostly watched. The screen asked if I was sure. I clicked yes. It wasn't revenge, it was separation. Then my iPad lit up on the counter, the one we shared at home for recipes and music. A bank notification banner slid across the top. Ride share, $68.40. Under it, a merchant name I recognized, a car service company that did event pickups. And then the line that made my chest go cold: passenger, Nalin R. I didn't have to hack anything. The shared device was synced to the shared card we used for household purchases, the same one we'd agreed to keep for groceries and rent-related expenses. It was visible because it was meant to be. I clicked the notification and it opened the transaction detail: pickup location, our address; drop-off, the hotel downtown where the gala was held. For a second, I just stared at it like it might rearrange itself into a different truth. So he wasn't just in town. He wasn't just a name from the past. She'd uninvited me and replaced me on the same night with the exact person her parents supposedly preferred. I took a screenshot. I didn't send it to anyone. I just saved it because reality is easier to handle when you can point to it. I kept packing. By the time I finished, my car was loaded with my clothes, my documents, my computer gear, a couple of kitchen items that were mine from before she moved in, and the small things you don't think about until you're leaving: my winter coat, my running shoes, the charger for my drill, the book I was halfway through. I walked through the apartment one last time. I didn't slam drawers. I didn't leave a mess. I wrote a simple note on a plain piece of paper: "Marissa, I'm staying elsewhere. Please only contact me by text about practical matters. Keys are in the envelope. Ethan." I put my set of keys in an envelope and left it on the kitchen counter where she couldn't miss it. Then I left. I drove to my brother's house across town. He was home, surprised to see me, but he didn't ask for drama. He just opened the door, looked at my face, and said, "Guest room's ready." I sat on the edge of the bed in that quiet space and let the shock settle into something steadier. About an hour later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered because I'm not reckless, and because something told me this wasn't spam. "Hello." A man's voice, confused and a little formal. "Is this Ethan?" "Yes." "This is Mr. Caldwell," he said, "Marissa's father." My throat tightened. "Okay." There was a pause, like he was choosing his words. "I'm calling because, well, we were told you were under the weather, that you couldn't make it tonight." I said nothing, just waited. He continued, "But I just ran into someone who said they saw you this afternoon. They mentioned you were excited for the gala, so I'm trying to understand. Are you all right?" There it was, the lie exposed by simple reality. I kept my voice calm. "I'm fine, sir." Another pause, then, "Why aren't you here?" I could have dumped everything on him. I could have said, "Ask your daughter why she brought Nolan." I could have tried to make him an ally. But I don't recruit people into my pain. I don't need witnesses to be right. So I said, "Marissa told me it would make you uncomfortable if I attended." The silence on the other end went sharp. He didn't speak for a beat, then said, carefully, "She said that to you?" "Yes." And she told us you were sick, he said, more to himself than to me. I could hear noise in the background, music, voices, the hum of a ballroom. Then he said something that surprised me. Ethan, I'm sorry, I don't know what she's doing. I exhaled slow, neither do I. He lowered his voice. Are you saying you and Marissa are? I'm saying I'm not in the apartment tonight, I replied, and I won't be at the gala. He sounded like he wanted to fix it with a phone call. She's been stressed. Paige's night. Donors, old friends. Old friends, that phrase landed like a heavy stone. I didn't argue, I didn't ask questions. I just said, I appreciate you calling. I'm going to keep things respectful, but I'm done. He swallowed audibly. I understand. Then, after a pause that felt like a father realizing he couldn't protect his adult child from consequences, he said, for what it's worth, you were welcome. I believed him. That almost made it worse. We ended the call politely. I set my phone down and sat there for a long time, listening to the quiet of a house where nobody was performing. Later that night, the gala started showing up online the way those events always do. A local photographer posted red carpet shots. The foundation shared clips of speeches. People tagged each other in selfies with champagne flutes. I didn't go hunting. I didn't need to. The posts found me because Marissa followed those accounts, and our shared tablet was still logged into some of them. There she was, smiling too wide, standing next to Nolan in a tux that looked rented and slightly wrong. His hair was perfect. His grin was too big. One hand was on her lower back like he owned the pose. In one video clip, I watched him lean into a group of donors and talk with exaggerated confidence, gesturing like he was pitching something. He had that energy that tries to fill every space because silence scares it. In another clip, someone recorded part of the live auction. The host was trying to keep the room classy, and Nolan, clearly a few drinks past classy, shouted something from a table that made people turn. The camera caught a security guy stepping in, not violent, just firm, hand out, quiet words, Nolan's face doing that offended smile people do when they think consequences are a misunderstanding. Then the clip ended. Karma doesn't always need a plan. Sometimes it just needs someone to keep being themselves in the wrong room. Around midnight, my phone started lighting up. Marissa, where are you? Marissa, this is not funny. Marissa, did you seriously leave? Then answer me. I didn't respond, not because I was trying to punish her, because there was nothing to negotiate at midnight. At 12:47 a.m., she called 3 times in a row. I let it ring. At 1:10 a.m., a new message appeared. Marissa, Ethan, please. Nolan was just a ride. I didn't want my parents asking questions. A ride, the shared bank notification said otherwise, but even if it hadn't, the photo said enough. At 1:24 a.m. Marissa, you're overreacting. It was one night. At 1:36 a.m. Marissa, I didn't say you were a downgrade. I said my parents have opinions. You know how they are. That's the trick. They don't deny the hurt. They move the blame to someone else and hope you'll chase it. At 2:02 a.m. Marissa, fine. If you're going to be like this, don't bother coming back. Then at 2:19 a.m., the tone shifted. Marissa, I can't find your keys. Are you locked out? I almost laughed at the simplicity of it. Even in chaos, there are practical problems. I replied once, one sentence. Keys are on the counter in an envelope. No emotion, no debate. A few minutes later. Marissa, why are you doing this? I didn't answer. The next morning, she showed up at my brother's house. I hadn't told her where I was, but she knew my brother's address from family gatherings. That wasn't stalking. That was familiarity. I opened the door because I don't hide. She looked wrecked, makeup smudged, hair pulled into a messy knot. She wasn't wearing the gala dress anymore. She was in leggings and a sweatshirt like she'd slept in the car. Can we talk? She asked, voice already trembling. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. We can talk out here. Her eyes flashed, seriously. Yes, I said calmly. What do you want to say? She took a breath like she'd rehearsed. I panicked. My parents were putting pressure on me. Paige was freaking out, and Nolan he showed up. He's been around, everyone knows him. It was easier. Easier than having your boyfriend with you, I said. She flinched at the word. I didn't uninvite you, she insisted quickly. I just thought maybe it would be better for one night. I nodded once slow, and you told me I was a downgrade. Her face tightened. That's not what I meant. It's what you said, I replied. She started crying, but she tried to keep control of it, wiping her cheeks like she could erase the moment. You're twisting it. You're making it sound like I don't love you. I kept my voice even. Marissa, you loved what I did. You loved the stability, the spreadsheet, the calm, the bills paid, the life that doesn't fall apart. Her breath hitched. That's not fair. I continued, not loud, not cruel. When that calm stopped being impressive to your friends or your parents, you treated it like it was embarrassing. She shook her head hard. No, I didn't. I looked at her. You replaced me with Nolan. Her mouth opened, then she tried to pivot. He was there because my parents, they like him. They always have. It was complicated. I didn't move. It's not complicated. It's a choice. She swallowed. He embarrassed himself, she blurted like it would help. He got escorted out. Everyone saw. My mom was furious. My dad wouldn't even look at me. I didn't react. That wasn't my win. That was Nolan being Nolan. Marissa stepped closer, voice softening. I messed up. I know I did, but we can fix this. Please don't throw us away over one mistake. I held her gaze. It wasn't one mistake. It was a reveal. She looked confused, like she didn't want to understand. I said, you didn't just hurt me. You made me small to keep someone else comfortable. Then you lied to your family about why I wasn't there. Then you used our shared money for a car service and brought your ex as your date. Her face went pale at the last part. You checked the account. I saw a notification on the shared tablet, I answered. I didn't need to dig. It showed up. She squeezed her eyes shut, then opened them with a new tactic. Okay, so what, you're perfect. You never mess up. You just leave without even talking. I did talk, I said. I listened. You told me I didn't belong, so I acted accordingly. She stared at me like she couldn't believe calm could be immovable. What do you want, she whispered. For me to beg, for me to apologize 1,000 times. I want you to understand this, I said. I'm not going to compete with chaos. I'm not going to audition for your parents, and I'm not going to be your safe option while you chase fireworks. Tears slipped down her cheeks again. I love you. I nodded, acknowledging the words without accepting them as proof. I believe you think you do. That made her sob, like I'd taken away the story where she's still a good person who just made a small mistake. I kept going because this is where boundaries live. I'm going to email the landlord today, I said. We'll follow the lease. I'll pay my share through the end of next month like the agreement says, and then I'm off it. You'll need to put utilities in your name if you stay. I already initiated the transfers. You should have the confirmation emails. She looked startled. You already? Yes, I said, because I'm not doing this in circles. She reached for my hand and I stepped back, not harsh, just clear. Please don't come here again, I told her. If you need to talk about logistics, text me. If it's emotional, don't. Her face crumpled. So that's it, 2 years and you're just done. I answered with the calmest truth I had. 2 years is a long time to be loved quietly. It shouldn't end because you were embarrassed to stand next to me. She covered her mouth with her hand, shaking. I gave her one last sentence, the one that felt like closing a file. You wanted my stability, I said. You didn't want me. Then I opened the door, stepped inside, and closed it gently. For the next week, the messages came in waves. Anger first, then bargaining, then long paragraphs about stress and family and how she didn't mean it like that. I responded only to practical things, move-out dates, lease steps, a time for her to pick up a box of items I'd found that were hers. And every time my chest tightened, every time I missed the version of her that fell asleep on my couch and whispered, "Thank you for helping her breathe again," I reminded myself of the moment she stood in our bedroom in a dress I helped pay for and told me I didn't belong. That's not a fight you win by arguing. That's a truth you accept by leaving. If you've ever been treated like an accessory someone puts on or takes off depending on the crowd, tell me what you did. And if you were the one who finally chose quiet power over chaos, I'd love to hear how it played out in the comments.